I just want to point out that the previous us, gentlemen, if you can understand, if you're clear on these two lines, then you got the whole thing. If not, then it needs clarification. And that is, Mashenkin, it's hard. 2/3 down of the general ice, the line begins with the Lahativ Libruv. Even though the Balachain Bedar Gezu, Nemar Atam, the Lagalish Lemis Kecha Yosef. To understand that line, Ki Bedar Gezu, these words, Yikval Achrei Hamshocha Vayitzim in the Etzem. The Dar Gezu is talking about what? What does he mean by Kval Achrei Hamshocha Vayitzim in the Etzem? Sheyatzem hine ashvach vashleme shaloi. Hoyese noyes akel alamatem is being akel kvi shein chas poel. Aval achri hamshach vaytzim min etzem. Yesh ingen de legal shlemes kechayse. Na kech ala poel. But that's not the hitiv libruv. If those lines are clear, then you understand the whole thing. Are they? Maybe I addressed it yesterday. I stressed it, but maybe not enough. Okay, I'm just going to broad brush strokes, as it were, here. The whole thing and highlighting that line. This, I'm going to give the maskana, not the whole pilpul, quote unquote, to arrive at it. The various sources, and on the surface they say different, but all put into their context. Just the end result. The end result what emerges from the mind is, you help me along as I say this. I'll ask you to finish the idea. Is Gilui per se revelation, self-expression? Is that a mila for the Eibishter?
No.
No. Adarab. There's two levels, and then here he says two levels. Why not level one? And for sure, the deeper level. What's the lower level relative to the deeper level that it's not a mila? Because the lower level.
Giluim are a departure from the Atom.
But there's a level lower than that even. From the Etzem, not even speaking Etzem. There's a darge in the likus that even it's at that darge, Gilui is no mila. For sure, he says, Mikolshkin the Etzem, that's a noise hakoil, that bears everything, and that means that any revelation is a limitation. But even a lower level, a level where there's already manifestation on some level, still there's no mile in Gilui. What's that darga? It's the first one he mentioned, then he goes deeper. Starts off with that one, and then he goes Pikolshkein earlier in the ice, a few lines up.
Give us a hint.
You're very familiar with it. That's number one, and it's, look at it on the page, it's mentioned several times. Right there in these lines that we're saying, just keep reading a bit further. Read a bit further. He says it spells it out. Just keep on reading down from there. You can hit it. Start off the quote. L'mayla ein koyach hasapoya. Why is that a lower dargin? What does it say? Not etzem. Koyach means what?
Potential, right?
Potential. Potential, already implicit in potential, is what? Is actual. Let potential express itself. It will express itself in the actual. It's a limitation already. It's a geder. The actual is not something other than the potential. But Gilui and Etzem, that's a radical descent. The Etzem built in Gal. Etzem doesn't have to be revealed in any way at all. It's not just, Etzem is not defined as the potential of some expression. It's essence, period, beyond potential. Is that clear?
I thought the statement was that koyach exists even without poya.
No, it means ein koyach hasapel means the koyach doesn't need the poyal to be real. The potential does not need or lack the actual expression to validate its being. Not so lamata. If you have the potential for something and you don't actualize it, you have potential to be strong. You have potential for a lot of things if you'll do a whole lot of steps. And if you don't, the potential remains unrealized. That's because there's time, there's all kinds of limitations, space, and possible things will prevent your potential from ever actualizing. You'll never become that which you could, even though you have the talent for it. Intellectually, emotionally, whatever we speak of. You have the potential to write a bestseller, But if you're not going to actualize it, in the end of the day, the potential in our world is meaningless. Not so l'mayla. If there's a potential for something, then it's just as good as the actual. Ein choset pearl. It's not missing l'mayla to actualize it for that property, a quality of virtue to be a virtue. First and foremost, there's no inyan of zman. You gotta wait till see when, and there's nothing that can prevent it. It's just as real. V'adarab. The maila, the koyach is greater than the pearl. It's a higher madrege. That's the shit of Shammai. That we go in every matzav, we relate to it at the koyach level, because that's the kavanah. The kavanah is to elevate the world to the level of the source, the koyach, source of creation, the creator, period, as opposed to the creations. That's the pearl. The pearl, says Beis Shammai, its whole avodah is to surrender and experience its koyach, its source. So mitzad the darga of ein koyach hasa pearl, even that, there's no mile in Gilui. And koyach has already gone manifesting, already a manifestation of potential for particular expressions. Many, infinite, true, but expressions. Koyach is already part of Gilui of Oir. It's a very, like the Etzem Oir. It's not Mamash Gilui, but it's linked to Gilui. The next step from Koyach, like Mo'ir, will produce light. A luminary will produce light. It doesn't need to produce the light. It itself. It's higher than the Oir. How much more? Some tzad the Etzem. Kolsh came tzad the Etzem of Elikos. That is higher, can't be pegged as the potential for all things. It's beyond description, period. For sure, Gilui is no Maila. That's what he's saying here. Statement number one. Now the Eibishter was Megala. The first step of creation, the viewer who looks at this. There's a Ge'er Ein Sof, gewaltige, infinite revelation of the divine. So when the Zohar and the Chaim say that the Kavanah is the Gal Shleimus Kechosov, the Rebbe puts these critical words here. Let's revisit them again. But we just said it's not a Maila. So he says, Ki darge zu hi kvar la'achrei hamshocha v'yetziyah min ha'etzem. The Gal Shleimus Kechosov already speaks of after the given of Gilui. It's a given already. At this time, they don't speak. In other words, the Yitzchayim and the Zohar don't speak about Atzmos. The starting point is the Eir Ein Sof. Because for the Etzem, his Shvach and Shleimus is Uno Yisar Koil. Or even lower, HaKoich Sheina Chosa Poil. So there's no Mailin in Gili Shleimoisov Mitzad the Etzem. Aval Achrei Hamshoch Veitzim Min Etzem Yesh Noin de Legal Shleimus Kechos. So they're starting with not Atzmos. As Kabbalah starts off, Kabbalah speaks in terms of Ein Sof Baruch Hu. You know, the Baruch Hu. Chassidus puts the Baruch Hu Yisbarich on Atzmos. Before Chassidus, he didn't speak about Atzmos. Creator, Beire, all kinds of descriptions. And came Kabbalah, Ein Sof Baruch Hu. You know, higher and higher and higher. But Atzmos was just there, but not addressed. So if we're talking in already in Gilui, in revelation, then self-expression is a virtue, like but then the Maimon continues. We're invoking Atzmos. Our starting point is Mamash David himself. And what? Gilui is echsoden. His otherness is echsoden. It's not a Maila. Begin the Ishtamoidinle, he should be known if there be someone to know him. He's all chesroiness. So Chassidus comes along and says, you know why this Gilui annoyed? Because the Pnimius is the hatively broad. He wants to create a Mata and a Nivra and have a relationship with this Mata and Nivra. So the Chaim and the Zohar we're talking about like virtues for God, the Galish Lemis Kechosim. And Chassidus says that's true if you already accepted that God is revealed and revelation somehow the starting point. So if revelation is your starting point, the words of the Maimon, then you can say if already his state is revelation, then self-expression is a virtue. More Gilui. Great Gilui. The Chassidus says that's not the starting point, Be'emes. Starting point is Atzmos. And these are all chesroinus. So now it comes out, now the gewaltige Chiddush. The whole legalish, lemis kechosav and Gilui and Oyer is all in order to make a Seder Shtalshalis and get a Tachtan and a Nivra that needs him, and Hashem wants a relationship with this needy Jew, this needy world. He decided
for Lehetiv Lebruov.
That's what I'm saying. Not or, that's Lehetiv Lebruov.
I said for.
Oh, for, I'm sorry. I think you said or. Yeah. And so then it comes down to, there's no milas, it's B'chiras Atzmos. There's no gains. He just decided, but what did he decide? This is the big shift here. The Yitzchayim and the Zohar were giving us a reason like would justify why God would do this. Self-expression. So this says that's all after you accept the stage, that critical stage of Gilui and Oyer and expression on some sublime level. Now you say the ultimate is full expression, unbridled expression. But why should there be an expression at all? The end is because Nisav, Lahitiv Libruv. And that's why there's Gilui. There's Gilui because he wants a higher and a lower and a low. It comes out that the higher the Galish Lemus of these tremendous revelations, it's because he wants a very finite little revelation of him, and no revelation, as it were, in a tachtim down here Lemazar Gashmi. And that's why there's this high revelation. The upper serves the lower. There's big revolution. The reason why there's an alien, because he wants a tachtim. There's no tachtim without an alien. So there's got to be an alien. Whereas they were saying, the mile is alien. The highest alien is the Galish, the infinite revelation of the divine. All very true, again, if your starting point is Oir. If your starting point is a revealed God, or God that can be revealed, or revelation is integral, is integral. It's not integral. That's a decision. So you read it. So why the Gilui? Because he wants a tzimtzum and no Gilui. He can't have no Gilui if there's no Gilui first. And that's Elam Hazeh. And here he wants to have a relationship with us, Lamata. Okay, so when you're Chazah the Maimed, it makes sure that these critical lines here we just are clear. That's where it all comes together. Let's continue. I really would be very gratifying if in the middle of the day I get like a text, a shaila. What does this mean? But shaila. Or at night, anytime you're thinking over the Maimed, I don't understand this, but it says and this and does what is it? But let me tell you something. The main thing is not to understand the Maimed. If you understand godliness. The main thing is the heart of it in the Maimed. Just in the heart of it, in understanding. On the contrary, in a way, understanding is echsoren. You think you got it. It's limitations, but just dealing the heart of Anya. I think the Rebbe said, I don't know who said this, but then in Russia, in the dark days, the 60s and stuff, it was very hard to get. And they would get fragments of my modem, a question or an answer, or the middle, just pages. No, so it wasn't the full question, an explanation, the answer. Didn't have that. Didn't walk away. They understood the subject. It was a much deeper limit. They learned it by heart. They learned that Maimer. They learned it. They toiled in it. They didn't have answers because they didn't just have the whole text. They didn't have the context even. It doesn't matter. It's Elikus. So the ikir is to think about it and to heart of in it. That's the main thing. Yeah, this was meant to look at the Torah. Look at the Torah. Chaim remember the story of Avram Parish. Wasn't good to say. The bottom line was they fixed up Avram Parish's Hanochis. The Rebbe Rashas Memorim, I think. And so there are a lot of mistakes.
No, it was about it was the Likutei Torah. Yeah. Yes, the Likutei Torah.
What's Avram Parish got to do with this part of the story here?
I don't know. I don't remember Avram Parish, but I know the part. After they fixed it all.
So the Rebbe said, the same point, but they fixed all the mistakes. It was like regret a little bit. It was cleaned up, all the editorial printing errors. There was an element of regret that this way Chassidim heart of it on the Maimer. Like, I don't understand. No, so you understand it to the next page. Stay here in the words of the. And then you don't understand. So, and the Bish is not verstandig. Tmuz is not. Beyond. Okay. Hey, so where are we going now? Finally reaching the cliffhanger, right? Everything we said till now, the of what? Of lost chilas and besoif and betchilas, and the beginning is wedged to the end, and the end is wedged in the beginning. This was all illustrated and demonstrated and laid out for us, first by understanding the books of the person, And the same thing Lamaila. So the conclusion is here that the Heitiv Libruv, that is the essential motive so far. And where does that realize? All the way at the bottom of the chain when the Oni gets the help. That's in the Moshel. And for the Eibishter, us, we're the Aniyin, the Nitzrachim, Niskokim, who need the Eibishter when he bestows his benevolence upon us. That will fulfill the original Lehitiv Libroiv that said emotion, the Erein Sof, Lagalashim, Iskichosim, and all the details that Reish Dalet gave us. I mentioned before, in many ways, it's the heart of the mind. It is the foundation in many ways of that Sichit Chelekei, that landmark Sichit.
Vav.
Sorry, Chelik Vav, yeah. But what was the big but? The big but is that the statement, however, another statement, the Melchadoidi, that Seif Maaseh b'machshava tchila means there's machshava, but then the Seif Maaseh touches the tchila, that which precedes the machshava, precedes the kavon of Lehitiv Libruav. What could that be? Let's find out. Calls everything we learned till now. Beginning is wedged in the end, the edge is wedged in the beginning. The beginning and the end are wedged. The end is a full realization of why the whole ishtalshelus lehetiv libruiv. However, higher than this even is this inyan of machshava tchila. Shesoif maaseh, that the final act expresses it touches the essence even deeper than that first motive. No, what does it mean? So let's begin. We see it down here. How do we see it? In giving ashpah to a poor person. Why are you doing this? It all starts with, because that's how a Jew is hardwired. It is a balad achamim, and he has a tainuk, therefore, in being compassionate and doing good. Now, how deeply is a person hardwired a yid? He wants to do good, and if there's nobody around, it's not just a response to a need. That's who he is. If there's no need, so he doesn't want to do good. No, he wants to do good, if there's no need. By shonim, rachmonim, gem lechasodim. That's what a yid is. That he was a isha chesed. That's his main hardwiring property. Gem lechasodim. Hashem describes him as Avram, who loves me. His desire to do good was so powerful. He was in pain. It was a hot day and no geshi. That day, right when the angels arrived, that Hashem did it, as it were, not to disturb him 3 days after the meal, but he was mitzvah, notwithstanding his great physical discomfort. Unfulfilled if he's not doing good. Yet, so even though it would appear, therefore, where does it all start with? There's no one around, and Avram is feeling badly. So what is he saying? There's no need right now that has to be addressed. That's because that's his rotzen and tainuk. Bashpos hachesed v'toiv. Hardwired and unfulfilled unless he's giving chesed and toiv. Yet. Hine gam kashem amshich kvar hashpos hachesed v'toiv lo oni. So now he's giving. So you would think that that's it. He's feeling fulfilled now because he has just exhibited kindness. Yet, what do we see? A strange thing. On royim sheshchilik im ashpa miskabelas b'toiv itzalon im lav. We see that the way the recipient receives it makes a difference. The recipient manipulates or touches the giver. And so it's not just about the giver and his hardwired need for fulfillment to do good. You need to understand it, but let's just read the words of the Maimon. We see that it's affected by how it's received. Let's read lines and then we think about it. When he sees that which he's given has been well received, he sees to the extent he's giving life to the Oni and his family. The actual desire for hashpah is increased. Then the actual chesed v'toiv. This is not, okay, we'll talk about the connection later. Let's go further. Read more words. It could be a case, a scenario.
More, or the kind of b'yoser mimashi yishpia chesed v'toiv.
He's mamshich, a greater force from the origin, a greater tainuk in chesed, a greater desire to do chesed. As a result of the onis receiving it well. It's. Let me explain. It's not clearly, nobody wants to do anything in vain. So what he's saying is not the following. He's not saying that when you see you do good and it wasn't wasted, there's satisfaction in that. It's obvious. It's obvious you want to see that what you did, you weren't wasting your time, and it ended up helping this family. That's not what he's saying. He's saying when he sees that it helps someone, it's actually deeper within him the rotzen to do good altogether. That's something else entirely. That's drawing on the etzem higher than the actual time. It's expanding the time. In the words of the Maimon, t'kef harotzen v'tanik b'yoser. Has more illustrations. Let's continue. It could be a scenario if the Oni doesn't want it. So it's one thing, he doesn't have the, okay, it was wasted. The pleasure of he was denied the pleasure of seeing that his good accomplished anything. That's okay, that's we understand. But here's the kvetch. He's pained. Why is he pained? Why is he paid? Not the waste of time component. It was all for nothing. His midas harachmim is mitztayer. And why would that be? He's all pointing to, and further, let's keep on reading, pointing to how the mekabel actually affects the mashpia at the core level. Let's go further. Friends, I hope this rings a bell somewhere. Where, what? The wedding maimon. Similar. I don't know why. Okay, let's finish the ois and we'll see. Let's go further. We're going to get more examples, so let's hold off our conclusion as to what the husband is till the end of the ois. And more than this, we see when the mashpi is giving over a dvar seichel. So how does it start? Because he wants to teach. More than the calf wants to nurse, the mother wants to give the milk, express the milk. So the starting point is the mother needs to express herself. And here's a person he's born as a teacher, and he's fulfillment in teaching. That's the hate of Libruv, yeah. Become Malkim Kasha Ashba Miskabel is it's a Makab. What do we see? That when the Makabelim receive it well, there's a new Tainug that's born, friends. That's it, a new Tainug. Not that which I gave the satisfaction, that which I thought was successful. That's not the Tainug. There's a new Tainug in Ashba, which you never experienced before. And what summoned this new Tainug is the Makabel. Didn't know he wanted to teach that badly till he started teaching. And that makes the whole hashpah a whole greater intensity. What pulled that forth? The way the Makabel got it. Not just that there is a Makabel. As he says in Tanya, it was about the Zera. The increase in the Ashpa is where there's deeper Tainug, it's increase in Ashpa.
So does this imply that Lahativ Lebrov actually adapts and changes based on what's happening in the matzah of the Makabel?
Yeah. The Lahativ Lebrov is transformed, which means it draws on a deeper level than Lahativ Lebrov. It's mamshich from the etzem mamish, and the Lahativ Lebrov is a whole new Ashpa.
So then it brings up the thought or the question, like, okay, what's the default Lahativ Lebrov? What's the extension? What's the, like,
first of all, let's wait till the end
of the well?
Let's wait till the end of the ice before we make our conclusions. Yeah. Okay. Avol kasher makabel in the makabel ashpa betoiv. If the makabel does not receive it well, or yisheni makabel kala doesn't receive it at all, and the loizibel vacha ein lirotzen v'tainug. Now it's again, okay, you don't want to receive it, so why he does not enjoying this if there's no recipient? The mitzvah, that's the key point. The makabel affects him to the point that it's mitzvah. Why are you mitzvah? Why is it painful? Why is it hurtful?
In other words, it shouldn't make a difference.
It should make a difference. Yeah, we're not talking about wasting time by, okay, wasted my time. It's not the issue here. It's in the actual ashba. It should be, look, I gave you, you didn't take it, it's your loss. And plus, lacking the satisfaction of something accomplished. Okay. He used the word that the hana of a job achieved, he doesn't have. But mitzvah that you didn't get mitzvah. Why am I mitzvah? You don't want it. Why am I pained? That's coming from a deeper place than the hate of Libruov. Let's continue further into the ice, and then we'll try and put it all together. Rav Hamnuna the elder said, merit, fortunate is the person, the molil that he speaks, al udnin dishmoin, on ears that hear. On the other hand, he continued, veileman, woe to the person. So the Rebbe is bringing this. Why is he bringing it here? What comes out here? What's the diak here? One word in this quote.
Boy or goy.
Yeah, the woe. What's the woe? It's not vague. It's not vague. It's more like, why even say this? You could say, I hope that when you're teaching, you accomplish the job. But woe to you, this is the mitzvah. Because without the udnin, the shmoy, the ears that hear, the etzem of you remains unfulfilled. Not just the hate of Libruyov. Again, let's keep on reading, because there is going to unpack it for us. Since the desire to mashpia by the mashpia, it all starts with not the need of the calf. The mother wants to give milk. So therefore, once she gives milk, she's released and fulfilled. The fact that she's giving it, so the tainug is there, irrespective of how it's received. If the whole starting point would just be me, how is it the makabel touches me and manipulates me and affects me, that I'm mitzvayed if it does not receive properly? Is the Tam Hadover comes in the next paragraph. He's just pointing out the fact here. The explanation is the next paragraph. We should hold off all. We haven't even begun to explain. We're just trying to, not explaining why. We're just saying the fact of what is. The Tam Hadover is next. Here's the conclusion. That receiving the ashpa, the recipient, touches deeper in the mashpia, afilu meharotzen v'tainug, then that will and tainug shegorem lashpas ches v'tayv. It started the whole process. The hativ libroyev by the Eibishter. Deeper. But what could be deeper? To explain. And this is Ingen Seif Masa Mashav Tchila. Sheseif Masa Dafke. It's the final action. The end is not just the giving, but how it's received. That's the Seif Masa. No Tchilasan, but Seif is your final act. The Chiddush of Seif Masa Mashav Tchila is Seif Masa. What's the Seif Masa? How it's being received by the Makam. That's the Seif Masa. And that touches Machshavat Tchila. Your final act touches your first motive, yes. But how the one you received it touches even deeper than your first motive, touches your very essence. We'll stop here, and the Tam Hadava will come tomorrow.